Hello, welcome to this edition of Queer at Age podcast. This is a special edition to celebrate the Bisexuality Awareness Week, which starts on the 16th of September in 2024. And I am lucky enough to be joined by this fantastic guest. Thank you for joining us, Marty. Do you want to give us a wee introduction?
Sure, thanks for having me, Joe. It's lovely to see you, as always. My name's Marty. I am a clinical sexologist and relationship therapist and an out and proud bisexual.
Woohoo! I hope you're all out and proud listening to this podcast. And Marty, thank you. It's rare for us to have people out and proud as bisexual. We usually hear about lesbians and gays and trans people, but bisexual voice has been one that's not often listened to or examined. So that's what we're hoping to do in the podcast today.
Great.
And the reason why, as well as it being Bisexual Awareness Week, is I've had a few people who are bisexual who have said to me recently that they don't feel comfortable sometimes as being part of the LGBT community, sometimes in the bars, even in Pride, they don't feel fully represented. And the bisexual flag is not one that you would see flying much of anywhere. And if it was, there's probably not many people would know what it means, what the colours represent. So sadly, in 2024, we're still experiencing. So can you tell us some of the things that, as a bisexual person, you've had said to you that were...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I came out to my friends when I was 17, but I knew I was not straight at a very young age. I remember I was home, probably off sick from school one day. The midday movie was called. Anyway, Personal Best. That's it. Personal Best.
Personal Best.
I'm showing my age here, Joe. But it has Mariel Hemingway in it, and I just fancied her so much, and I was so interested in her in the film. And I just sort of kept it to myself because I also experienced attraction to, again, showing my age, but I remember looking at an album cover of ABBA and staring at Bjorn and being super attracted to Bjorn. Like mum and dad out in the backyard making a barbecue in the summer, yelling out, "Marty, your tea's ready." And I just couldn't tear my eyes away from Bjorn. So from such a young age, I already knew that I experienced attraction to more than one gender. And as I say, I came out to my friends when I was 17, and one of the first things that a friend said to me was, "Well, I'm not going to have sex with you."
Form an orderly queue.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I'd never actually considered you. Funnily enough, a couple of years later, we had sex. Yeah, she initiated it. I didn't. She initiated it. My coming out to her actually must have piqued her curiosity or interest or in herself, and yeah.
You're bisexual. Everybody wants to have sex with the bisexuals.
Exactly. And sort of, you know what, that comes to the one of the most common myths, I think, that you're greedy. You want to have sex with absolutely everyone. And no.
And where do you get the time?
Exactly. I wish I had the time, Joe, to have sex with everybody, but I don't. So, nor do I have the inclination or attraction to everyone. It's not often that you walk into a room and think, I'd like to have sex with everyone. Although maybe you, Joe, at a bear party would feel differently.
Depends on But that is one of the myths, is bisexual are often asked if you walked into a room, and it's always this mythological room. And you talked about this at Alternative Queer Ulster a number of years ago. a fantastic speech that you did.
Thank
I
you.
still remember it to this day.
Well, didn't you created a piece of art based on one of my lines from there?
Yes, that's
I
right.
still have it, Joe.
The closing line was if the shoe fits,
Yeah.
I'm fucking raving in it.
Absolutely. And that was talking about being greedy. And, you know, there's something to be said. About sort of maybe the tie-in of slut shaming into that. But also a massive misunderstanding about bisexuality and what that actually means at its core.
Yeah,
So, you know, bisexuality at its core is the same as any sexual orientation. It's just about who you fancy. That's it. It's not about who you're having sex with. It's not about who you're dating. It's not about who you marry. It's just who you fancy. And that can be in your mind. You know, that can be informed by the type of porn that you watch, you know, or the type of erotic audiobooks that you listen to, or who you are attracted to when you do walk into a room full of people as well.
so yeah, there could be bisexual people who are in a committed relationship
Mm,
and they're maybe watching porn or whatever, and nobody will ever know because from the outside it just
mhm,
looks like they're
mhm.
straight or gay.
Yes, and it's often referred to, you know, in sort of mainstream things like Instagram and stuff, or even just, you know, within the queer world as well, about heterosexual passing relationships. I do recall somebody saying to me once, "You're in a heterosexual passing relationship," and I felt deeply offended because I'm not heterosexual. I don't even want to think about passing. We know that that is actually derogatory language towards people within our community. And so let's talk about being in a queer relationship, but you're not seeing me.
Yeah,
You're not seeing my identity. And so that is a part of by invisibility that we experience or by erasure.
yeah, and the assumption that you're going to be um, promiscuous,
Mhm.
and if somebody turns up and you fancy them, then of course you're going to betray your lover and
Uh-huh.
leave them and go
Yeah.
just to go and have sex
Yeah.
with this room full of people.
Yes, absolutely. The whole room, the
The whole
whole
room.
room. It's the biggest orgy you've ever seen. Well, look, there's definitely that misunderstanding, and I think that misunderstanding comes from within our queer community and outside of the community as well, in the heterosexual community.
Yeah. Yeah, I can remember not long after coming out and just getting involved with the community, and you had to take a side, you had to be committed, and it was very strong identity
Yeah.
to be gay, and to be then with a woman then if you were a gay man was a betrayal of your identity, your
Mhm.
community.
Mhm.
So bisexual men would be seen as
Yeah.
not to be trusted because they could be on either team,
Yes. Yes.
and it was very much like teams, and also myths that lesbians and gay men didn't get on, and all of this usual rubbish that it turns out to be.
Divisive, isn't it? Divide and conquer, you know,
Yeah,
because we know stronger, together we're stronger, right? As a queer
absolutely.
community, as an LGBTQIA plus community, we are a million times stronger together when we're not hiding, when we're out in the streets,
Yeah,
when we're supporting each other, when we're putting on, you know, queer events, when we're creating safe spaces for ourselves and for the rest of the community. We know that we are stronger together, but you know, when there's divisiveness, then we're weakened. Our strength isn't as obvious, or I don't know. I can't think of a word to explain that.
yeah, but we also need the heterosexual people who have been there supporting us, the allies,
Mm.
because the numbers of just us in our wee community,
Mhm.
it isn't enough to keep bars
Mhm.
running.
Absolutely, and I've
So
always said, I feel like you know what's coming. So when we're looking at allies and the impact that allies can make in the world to increase our rights, to increase celebration. I hate the word acceptance. We want to be celebrated. I think it's important that allies get involved because we don't need to convince ourselves as a community, as a queer community, that we need rights, that we need human rights, that we need more understanding out there. We need the allies to support us in this fight for our rights.
Absolutely. So Marty, a common misconception with bisexual people is that you're 50-50 attracted to
Yes.
males and females. So there's a 50-50 chance that you're gonna
Yeah,
run off with either.
yeah.
So it's not really like that, is it?
It's not at all like that for me. And we wouldn't want to assume that it's like that for other bisexual people. However, there might be people out there who say, yeah, actually, that suits me. So that's where we talk about self-identification, right?
Yeah.
People get to self-identify. However, as a general rule around the identity that we align ourselves with, there's no percentiles.
Yes, it's not a big business being run
Yeah,
somewhere
that's it.
with the graphs. And
Yes, we're not sitting there number crunching.
yeah,
Have I hit my 48%? Oh my God, I'm outweighed by 70% the other way. No, it's not like that at all.
yeah,
Bisexuality is about experiencing attraction to people, more than one gender. That's it. And there might be bisexual people who, for example, experience attraction to men, but don't want to have a relationship with men. They might just want to have sex with men and would prefer to have a relationship with another gender, or vice versa. It is literally up to that person to define.
yeah. And representation in popular culture, movies, hasn't always been great, has it?
No.
Um, so we're, as part of the project, we have the Crystal Queer Film Club, and we're hoping to show a bisexual themed film in September as well. And we are looking at William Marsden's Wonder Woman. So it's
Amazing.
William who created Wonder Woman, but he was in a relationship with two women.
Uh-huh.
So I thought that was a nice, gentle film, positive film, and also showing the prejudices because
Yes.
it was a deeply conservative community he was in, and he got a punch in the face
Wow.
because he was with two women, and that was just
Wow.
unacceptable. I don't think it would probably be much of a problem here now in Northern Ireland if someone, a man was with two women,
I mean, it happens every day,
but
right?
if a woman was with two men,
Yeah.
it might be
Yeah.
seen as different
Yeah.
because women are more shamed for owning their sexuality,
Slut shamed,
slut shamed,
absolutely.
yeah, and discouraged from even declaring their
Mhm.
authority over their own bodies. My God, you can't.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we're not allowed
I'm
to do
preaching to the
that.
choir
How
here,
dare
but
we? How dare we?
it's just for the listeners. We're just highlighting the inequalities and things that still exist.
Yes, and I would actually say that bisexual men have it harder. There's a particular challenge, and I remember, do you remember that research that came out from Stonewall, probably 5 years ago now, but everything's sort of pre-pandemic or post-pandemic, right? But I remember it came out when I worked at Rainbow, the Rainbow Project, and it was saying about how men, bisexual men, cis men, would not feel safe coming out at work for fear of being ridiculed and experiencing stigma and discrimination. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's easier if they just stay quiet and pretend to be straight.
And I think because women are so highly sexualized anyway, that it's not deemed to be disgusting or revolting. We just might not be taken seriously. You know, our sexual
Yeah.
orientation might not be taken seriously, and that's bad enough, do you know? But I think a cis male's experience of bisexuality could look very differently to, for example, mine. Toxic masculinity.
Yes,
Yeah.
layers of
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is something that we hope that the awareness raising is going to be helping with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? To be honest, loads of men who identify as straight have sexual fantasies about penises.
Yeah.
Loads.
yeah, there's even podcasts about that.
I'm sure there are.
Straight,
Yeah.
straight men, and they're talking
Yeah.
about experiences that they've had growing
Mhm.
up and even in later life.
Yeah.
And they're married and happily married,
Yeah.
but still
Yeah.
they will have these experiences with other men,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean necessarily that they're gay, but that's something that they're worried about being
Yes,
labeled.
perceived as.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
And they wouldn't even put a label of bisexuality on it either.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so much stigma, and imagine being misunderstood by somebody,
Yeah,
that you're in a romantic, intimate relationship with. And so often people will keep it, in their mind as a fantasy, which is fine if they want to keep it there.
yeah,
Everybody's entitled to their own sexual fantasies. That's their own space. That's bodily autonomy, right?
yep.
Yeah. But it can become an issue for people when they do want to explore that beyond their own mind.
Yeah, especially in our society. I mean, we always think we're at the leading edge of the future. We're at
Mm-hmm.
the leading edge, and yet it's still a lot of conservative ideas out there,
Yeah.
a lot of conservative boundaries
Yeah.
that rule society
Mm-hmm.
and tell us where we can go and who we can be with,
Mm-hmm.
and that's still happening.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, heteronormativity.
Yep. And you used to work for the Rainbow Project, Marie?
I did for 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
And what was your experience there, like working in the community for bisexual people?
I remember when I first came over, when I first moved here, because I'm Australian, and there wasn't a whole lot of talk about bisexuality in Northern Ireland at that stage. And so I remember having to do a lot of education with people. For example, the 50-50 attraction percentages and, straight passing relationship stuff, like there was a lot of pushback from people about the identity of being queer as well. People didn't understand why I interchanged between saying identifying as either bisexual or queer. And I remember delivering training once, so LGBT awareness training, and there was a guy in the audience, and he just couldn't, you could see on his face, he was so confused. He was like, what is happening here? And he said, and I said, do you have a question? He said, I just don't understand why you're interchanging between saying you're queer or bisexual. And I said to him, if I say to you I'm bisexual, are you thinking about who I have sex with? I said, but if I'm saying to you I'm queer, are you thinking about who I'm having sex with? And it made a good point because he was nodding furiously when I said bisexual, but
Yeah.
he looked quite blank when I said queer. Because queer is an umbrella term that protects me. It protects me from being judged, being misunderstood. People know that I'm a part of a broader community as well. It's not just bisexuals who are queer.
Yeah.
And I love that strength in numbers. Yet again, the strength in numbers that we have. For me, being able to identify as queer is so much more than my sexual orientation. It informs my political beliefs. It informs my fashion sense. It informs.
Fabulously, as we can see.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So
For the listeners who can't see us, Marty is wearing a shimmering ball gown. And just kidding.
Yeah, so those were the sort of the things that I experienced a lot of when I started at the Rainbow Project.
And
And
that was
so
within the community
it was within the community, yeah.
from people who should have known
Well, I mean, that's such an important point to talk about horizontal oppression. So what happens when the bullied become the bullies? Yeah.
Horizontal oppression.
Mhm.
Write that one down. I haven't heard it before.
So horizontal oppression is when people who have experienced oppression start to then perpetrate that onto other people within their own community.
Oh,
Yeah. So it's almost cyclic, right? Um, it's not something to be sort of, I'm very cautious about how I talk about this because I don't want to put our community down in any way,
yeah.
But also we're not a homogenous community. We're just human beings and we all have different identities. And I think, some of the identities that are really misunderstood and continue to be misunderstood are bisexuality. We also have transgender identity that is, hugely discriminated against and misunderstood by a lot of people, as is non-binary identity as well. So it's important that everybody within our community, let's get educated, let's support each other. If we don't understand, can we ask community questions within the community in a safe and respectful manner?
Yeah.
Google.
Google,
It
yeah.
will actually tell us everything we need to know.
Google everything else.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah,
When you want to
exactly.
know. Or just send a wee email in through to the Rainbow Project or Here and I or joe@hereandi.org if you want more information.
Nice plug, Joe. No, seriously, everyone should contact Joe. He's fabulous.
And I'll put you in touch with Marty if you have more questions.
Yeah, please
But
do.
she's not single.
No, I am taken. Yeah, so I
She's
am.
been in the room.
I am. I have been in the room.
You made her
Those days have
selection.
gone. Yeah, those days have gone for me. Yeah,
So
but
what happens to a bisexual person, Marty, once they're in a relationship long term?
mm,
It's your life partner,
yeah.
you maybe get married. How do you continue to be bisexual? Is it a case that you still need to continuously come out
It is.
for the rest of
Did
your
you
life?
hear the big breath
Yeah.
in? It is. And it's very, very important to me that I maintain a visibility with my bisexual identity. And so one of the ways that I do that is by coming on your beautiful podcast and talking about it. It's by surrounding myself with bisexual people who will understand me as well. Um, one of the things that I try and do quite a bit on my Sexology with Marty Instagram page is share information for other queer people as well. The more visibility we have, the more I'm connected to my community, the more I can top up my identity. Because yes, I'm in a monogamous relationship, and so my expressions of my bisexual identity now look different compared to when I was single or dating multiple people.
Yep. And that's a common thing that we've heard as well from bisexual people. Long-term relationships, they have to, in order to assert their bisexuality, either keep coming out or they just get so fed up with it, they just say nothing
Fall
and
off
let
the
people
radar.
make
Yeah.
assumptions
Yeah.
and judge them based on who they're with.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the things that I felt really passionately about in my relationship, because people might assume that it's a heterosexual relationship, is that it is not, because I'm not heterosexual and therefore my relationship is not heterosexual. So for me, my relationship is still a queer relationship.
So sometimes in bisexual relationships, a partner might also consider themselves to be queer or in a queer relationship, just depending on the circumstances. But not everybody may consider that.
Some of the resources out there for bisexual people, well, the Rainbow Project, Here and I, as well, of course. you know what? There are so many queer spaces now in Belfast, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Compared to when I first moved over here, Paper Clips, Queer Bookshop
yeah.
and Barbers, uh,
Brewed by them,
Brewed by
coffee
Them,
shop,
yes.
cold water queers,
Happy Out Coffee,
happy out coffee.
yes. Pony Hawk, of course, has been a firm queer favourite night out for a long time now.
Yeah,
But there are so many options for people to go and find friends, find lovers, but find community.
yeah.
You know, it's so different to how it used to be.
Thankfully.
Thankfully, no, and this is because of wonderful people who are leading the way. We wouldn't be who we are without trailblazers, people taking risks and outing themselves and creating, I guess, social businesses around this so
Yep,
that
social
there's
businesses.
representation.
And community groups as well. I mean, the cold water queers just sprang up from a need to do cold water dipping in safety and
Wow.
safety in numbers.
Yes.
And that's just one of the recent groups. I'm part of that as well.
So you going?
Plug.
Where are you going?
We go to 4 different locations, a different one every week.
Uh-huh.
So Helens Bay,
Uh-huh.
Browns Bay, Bully, Bully something up beside Bangor, and then Bali something down there. So 4 different beaches, and then we have a wild card waterfall every 5th week. So we could go to a waterfall or go to a river.
Wow.
So it's really popular.
That's amazing. I love that.
So there's different week groups like that. There's
Yeah.
games nights, groups and bears and
Mhm.
all sorts. The community is
So
really
many.
just springing up where there's a need. And I think people have gotten fed up waiting for somebody to do something and
Yes,
realize
good.
I am the somebody
Yes.
and I need to do the something, and it's as easy as that. And you just find like-minded people and
Yes.
start a group. And
I'm so happy to hear that because, how long we've been saying we
yeah,
can't, one person can't be everything to everyone.
yeah,
You can be one person to another person, and then so on and so forth. Waiting for somebody to come to your rural town and set up a queer night, it's never going to happen. You need to do it.
yeah.
If you've thought of it, take it on and do it.
That's the best advice I've heard, because if you're waiting for something like the Rainbow Project to
Mhm.
ride into the rescue, they're limited by the strings attached to
Mhm.
their funding,
Mm-hmm.
and they're limited by the application process. It takes a long time, and then they're sitting trying to figure out what people want.
Yeah.
And they're limited by what the money the funders are offering that money for. So if you want to do your own thing, start it community from the roots.
Yeah. And if you're having problems with understanding your identity, your sexual orientation, your identity, if you're having issues coming out, if you're having sexual function issues as a result of your sexual orientation and or identity, get in touch with Sexology with Marty.
Fantastic.
Mm.
So is that like counselling that you offer?
Sure. So, clinical sexology and relationship therapy. So, yes, it's therapy that I provide. I love working with people within the queer community. It is a beautiful, beautiful experience to share with people because there is misunderstanding, because there is biphobia, because there's a general underlying shame around sex, full stop.
Yep, for sure.
In Northern Ireland. I mean, think about sex education in school. What was yours?
There was none.
There was none.
There was absolutely none.
Yeah. And so there's no mandated sex education for schools.
Yeah.
And this is where shame starts. If we're not educating people about it, how will they know that what they're experiencing throughout puberty is normal,
Yeah.
healthy, natural?
If you're not even able to talk about it
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
without shame.
Yeah, yeah, without shame and then stigma, you know. Maybe the chats amongst your friends are more around popular culture versus what's really happening to you. But the studies show, research shows that young people now see porn from as young as 7, on an average, 7.
Wow, that's
So young.
it's so young and it's scary
Yeah.
that the brain is.
Well, it's scary that we're not talking about it with them in an age appropriate context
Yep.
at such a young age. Yeah. But what we know is when people are carrying shame for years and years and years and years and years, it can absolutely impact on sexual function and sexual enjoyment. And then how does your sexual orientation or identity, how does that match with your wants, needs, and desires sexually?
Yeah. Heritage is part of the LGBTQIA plus Heritage Project, which is a partnership project with Here and I, Cara Friend, and the Rainbow Project. This is funded by the National Lottery Heritage Fund.
So Joe was speaking about some of the myths and about bisexuality. And I think some of the most common ones are people say that it's just a stepping stone to coming out.
Bye now, gay later.
That's it.
That's one
Yes.
of
And you know what? The reality is maybe it is for some people, maybe it's safer for them to say that they're bisexual. Maybe it's because they're coming out whilst they still live at home.
I was with that person.
There you go.
I'm sorry.
No, please don't be.
But I came out as bisexual to my friend first because I was terrified of how they would react. And then when I felt it was safe, it wasn't very long, it was almost a few days later, then I said, no, I'm not bisexual, I'm definitely gay. But it was a way to test the waters.
Yep.
But that doesn't help with the.
I'm not so sure. My position on that is not to shame you in any way, shape, or form because you were doing what was safe for you. My interpretation of that is that it's just more evidence that bisexuality is misunderstood
Yeah.
as a partially heterosexual identity.
Yeah, more accepted than gay.
Correct. So the sort of the thinking is, well, if you come out as bisexual, there's still a hope that you'll end up with somebody of another gender, that it won't be same gender attraction,
Yeah.
And so that's telling me that the broader community is still really misunderstanding what bisexuality is, that it is a queer identity.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it any less gay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you were just doing what was safe for you. I get it. I don't think that I could hate anybody's coming out journey because it's their own.
Yeah, you do what you have to do to survive in that situation, and everybody's in different
Yeah.
situations.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that really grinds my gears is the term bi-curious.
Bi-curious.
Bi-curious. So you'll see it written on dating profiles, bi-curious.
Yes, you used to see it on the old for the young people. There used to be chat lines where you had to phone like a premium rate number, and it cost an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
So you could only listen to about 30 seconds of it. But they would be advertised bi-curious, call this number. I can remember those at the back of the magazines.
Yes. I think of it in print as well, in the newspapers
Yes, and
back in the day. in the
in
90s and noughties.
the personals
Yeah, in the
columns.
personals.
Yep.
Seeking, bi-curious, yeah. The problem I have with bi-curious is that again it diminishes bisexuality as a sexual orientation. And the reason I say that is, have you ever heard somebody say, I'm gay curious or I'm heterosexual curious?
No.
No, exactly. So again, it's sort of by erasure. Nowadays, we would say questioning. You know, the Q in LGBTQIA plus stands for either questioning or queer. You might see it with two Qs in the alphabet soup, in the queer alphabet soup. But bi-curious is, you know, sort of saying, well, I might be, but I'm not yet. I don't want to commit to anything. Just say that.
Yeah, it's an outdated term
It is an outdated term.
that's used mostly by magazines and
Yeah,
promotion
yeah,
to try and tempt people probably on the periphery
yeah,
to say, oh, this is,
yeah,
you're only coming halfway in.
yeah. And you know, there's so many like straight people who will have a threesome, and that's cool. That's it. That's as far as they take it, but they might not identify as bisexual.
Yeah.
Um,
So greedy.
Greedy.
Marty, are you greedy? Have you ever been greedy?
I have been greedy.
I have too.
And I had a wonderful
It
time.
was that time I was bi-curious. I found the room.
You found the room. I love this room. It's like it seems to be as hard to find as the black market, you know?
Yes,
Did you get that on the black market? Where is this black
the
market?
black market.
Yeah.
So yeah, greedy, meaning that you're taking more than your fair share of people from the,
Yeah, well, you're so threatening though.
yeah,
People are threatened. They are terrified.
because you're going to sleep with all of their
Men.
men that
It's
they have
only
lined
men.
up.
They're not worried about you sleeping with all their women. You know, it is sleeping with their men. That is, they are absolutely terrified. You are a massive threat to people who are feeling insecure in their relationships.
So you think it's mostly women who feel insecure that you're going to take their man away, rather than men who feel you would take their wife
I mean,
away?
the
Or
typical male response that I've experienced, and we're talking cis het male responses to being bisexual, when I come out as bisexual is, oh my God, I have always wanted a threesome. So that's the typical male response. It's not typically treated as a threat, unless if you're in a relationship with somebody, then I know that people have experienced from men just as much as women and everyone else the fear that you're not good enough, that they're not good enough, sorry, that they're not going to be able to keep you, that you're going to have a wandering eye in your relationship, because how can you be fulfilled with only dating one gender?
yeah,
And it's a massive misunderstanding. I'm not saying all, because I hate to say all, because everyone is different. But what I am saying is, just because you're one gender doesn't mean that your partner is going to be looking for another gender outside of the boundaries of consent within your relationship based on their bisexuality.
and what about people who say bisexual people are confused?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Maybe
in
that
that,
goes back to the stepping stone thing, Joe.
yeah, or you haven't met the right man
Yes,
or woman
woman,
yet.
yeah. And I think that the people saying that are confused, that again, they don't have an adequate understanding of what bisexuality is.
Yeah, it's very lazy
It is, yeah,
because they haven't bothered to find out what it
more about
means.
it. Yeah, self-educate, self-educate, self-educate. I've never been confused about my sexual orientation. You know, I've always known that I've been attracted to more than one gender. And I'm not confused about what I want in terms of when we're talking about who I fancy. But again, that's what it comes down to. Who I fancy, that is it.
So bisexuals are sure about their sexual orientation. There's no confusion, and it's not a stepping stone, although could be for some people.
Yep.
There's exceptions to every rule.
Yep. And no hate, all love. If you feel safer doing that, protect yourself, Or if you feel at the time that you are bisexual, we know that identities can change and grow. There is not an expectation that you come out and that you're that for the rest of your life.
Yes.
We're just finding new language. We're just finding more and more understanding around the nuances of sexual orientation, right?
Yeah.
And so perhaps if a description, a new label came out that makes people go, oh, actually, that is so much more suited to how I feel right now.
Yeah.
There's also, talk about how hormones influence people. And so if you think about people going through menopause, or on certain types of medications and all sorts, it can actually affect who we are attracted to. And therefore, we are absolutely entitled to change our identity label.
So somebody who comes out as gay early life potentially can end up being attracted to more than one.
Sure. Yeah. Literally, you could sit here, Joe, and you could give me 99 potential scenarios, and for one person listening, it'll be the 100th that we haven't thought of.
Yeah. Yep. It's a very open scene.
Yeah, totally.
Brilliant. So just to finish up, Marty, anybody coming out today, what advice would you give them, young people or somebody listening to the podcast and maybe we've piqued their interest and they've...
Or older people coming out. We love you so much. If you're coming out later in life, well done, amazing. You're going to receive a lot of love from us. Regardless of age, if you are considering coming out, what I would always recommend to people is to make sure you have a strong safety net around you. So whether that be through a therapist, whether that be through a best friend, family member, sibling, parent, neighbor, whoever, whatever, lover, whoever it is in your life that you can rely on as a safety net, somebody who you can go and talk to and hug.
Yeah.
Hug after you've come out to whomever you're choosing to come out to. But just know there's a lot of support out there, so much support. All you've got to do is reach out and grab it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the main projects we're going to tell you them at the end, as we always do. But if they want a particular sexology,
so if you were looking for psychosexual therapy and or relationship therapy, my website is www.sexologywithmarty.com. Or you can find me on Instagram, Sexology with Marty, and get in touch.
Well, that all it remains is to say a big thank you, Marty, and you've done the bisexual community proud, and I hope the message gets out there, and anybody who's been feeling alone or needing some support, please do get in touch and we'll refer you on. And thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for having me, Joe, and upper buys.
Yeah. If you've enjoyed listening to this episode of Queeritage, then please consider subscribing. Your stories are what makes the episodes possible, so we'd really love to hear from you. If you'd like to be on the show, please email joe@hereni.org. Queeritage is part of the LGBTQIA+ Heritage Project, which is a partnership project with Here and I, Cara Friend, and the Rainbow Project. This is funded by The National Lottery Heritage Fund.